I originally declared, joined the Baha'i Faith back in 1980. I was living in the Wilmette area, and actually was spending quite a bit of time at the House of Worship there. In fact, I was even taking classes. They had some kind of introductory classes, so I was taking these weekly classes. And I was pretty much studying the Baha'i Faith, reading all of the writings and reading everything before I would join. But by the time I was taking these classes, I was pretty much convinced of the truth of Baha'u'llah's message and the truth of who Baha'u'llah was. And I was just taking the class to make sure there wasn't anything I missed. So at the conclusion of these classes, and I believe I was the only one in the class, as I recall, at the conclusion of this class, I said that I was ready to declare. And the instructor, he was a member of the Wilmette local spiritual assembly. I can't remember his name, but he valiantly searched the House of Worship for a declaration card, but they couldn't find one. So I couldn't declare on that date. Also, what was interesting was about the time they started looking for the declaration card, the power went out at the House of Worship, which is an unusual situation. So they had no power at the House of Worship for a couple hours, and in fact, we conducted the class outside that last class in the garden because the lights were out, and so we were out in the garden discussing this, and when I said I wanted to declare, and they were looking for this declaration card in the dark, essentially. So I wish I had saw the sign. At the time, I had actually said, well, I wonder whether this is an omen, that you can't find a declaration card and that the power went out right when I decided I wanted to declare my belief. And I believe that I was being guided. I just failed to see that I was being told very clearly that I was joining an organization that is following the darkness. And that's really the problem with the larger group of Baha'is. They've broken the covenant. They have rejected the guardian. They're even suing the guardian in court. So, they're opposing the guardian, and that's what a covenant breaker is. And even though you can sit there and call us covenant breakers all you want, those of us who remained faithful to the guardianship and who follow the current living guardian, but the fact of the matter is, you're the ones who are the covenant breakers. You're the ones who have rejected the guardian and refused to obey him. And if you look at the writings, if you just crack open those books, you'll see that that's what the writings say is a covenant breaker. So, if your leaders are misleading you and they're telling you that you shouldn't read our stuff because we're covenant breakers, maybe you should question a little bit and exercise independent investigation of truth and say, let me get to the bottom of this, because the writings are actually quite clear. So all I can say is the organization that I now have left, your organization, is part of the forces of darkness, and you're opposing God. And the only reason I'm out here trying to convince you of this is it's a tragedy that so many Baha'is have become lost and misled. And so, as far as I'm concerned, as long as there's an organization out there promoting opposition to the guardianship, then I'm going to oppose that organization, and you will not be able to stop me.